$88.23, I believe.
Yes.
Is there a motion to do, is there a motion?
So moved, subject to being true and correct.
And it's not true and correct?
So they already cashed their check. I'm only teasing,
Do we have the
Steve,
money,
you're
do
taking it
we
wrong.
have any money to pay this or what?
Yeah, it's getting tight.
Okay, Steve made the motion to pay it.
Second, yes.
Okay, we have a first by Parrish, a second by Spahr. Roll call.
Dupree,
Yes.
Spahr,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evans, yes.
Okay, so we need, hey Tam, you got a calculator over there?
You got a calculator on the phone?
Okay, so what we have on this, today's bill pay, it says $104,616.29, there's an error there. Not the staff's fault, but this one marked power plan, okay, $2,854.35 is the harness to the, tractor. What happened was Murphy Tractor sent us a bill of which we paid at the last bill pay. For some reason, they're in the middle of like buying out the company or whatever. So this power plan sent a bill. So
So
this
it's
is
double
off,
bill.
this is voided out. This check number will be voided out. I just need to know what the, $104,616.29 minus $2,854.35 is.
101,761.94.
What was that, TJ?
$101,761.94.
Before we get to a vote on that, I just wanted to point out to the audience, we have two bills here going to the Harshman Group. These bills are being paid all the way back to 2020. These are bills that should have been paid almost 4 years ago.
Why don't we go out to those supervisors and have them pay it?
Let them wait another year.
I agree.
Were these bills reviewed by Stephanie Pettit?
Yeah,
And so they're real bills that weren't paid?
These were zoning.
it's almost impossible to say for sure whether or not they should have been paid, but there's no way to challenge them at this point.
Can I ask you, is any of this have to do with Cold Bluff Road?
No, this is zoning
Zoning.
code.
Pardon me?
Zoning and code.
Zoning and code only,
Not
no,
engineering.
nothing to do
And
with,
you know what the real shocker is? That people would write a separate check to them. People would write, if you got a zoning permit, you wrote one check to Harshman and one check to the township. How do we owe them so much money? If they got permit money from the people.
right. I agree with you there, why?
Now, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Double billing,
I-
that's what that
I'm
amounts
gonna make a
to.
motion to pay except for Harshman, so if you guys wanna make a motion to pay, including Harshman, go ahead and do so, but I'm not doing it. There's a thing in here, he charged $550. The first month we were here, Karen Stroop, our volunteer, got handed a bill from Harshman. Harshman then, she looked through it, cause even as a volunteer, she was diligent.
Right.
She found out that the statement had bills missing that weren't included in the statement. So she called Harshman and said, in order for us to pay this, you're gonna have to include all the invoices. They sent a bill for $550 to come down here and give her an invoice. I'm not paying.
Prepare the invoice. Oh, he was very good at
He handed a bill,
charging,
he handed a bill,
to charge,
missing
to
invoice.
do his bill.
So
Oh.
his statement was missing invoices, and when Karen Shoup called him and said, I'm sorry, we can't pay you without all the invoices included,
Right.
he didn't email them, he brought them down to her and charged $550 to do so. And it even references came down to give documentation to the volunteer at Union Township here in Stroop. I mean, she called to say the bill was missing invoices.
Madam Chairman, in relation to what you and Charlie have said, when I signed those two checks to Bay Harshman, almost $60,000 for zoning and permit work, that was only a portion of what he's saying we owe him. And we had to get some verification of those bills, of those invoices. And I'm gonna lay before this board again, because of what we have seen so far to this point, especially concerning the finances of this township, how they were handled, what accountability there was. I am going to call again for a forensic audit of the financial condition of this township and to hold those responsible for this ineptness where the township taxpayers are being made to carry the burden of their mistakes, their poor judgment. It is apparent to me you had supervisors sitting up here who didn't know what the hell was going on. And how many times we heard, well, we leave it up to the professionals.
I remember those days.
I'm calling for a forensic audit to be done for this township.
Go for it.
When?
Do it.
Take grant money for that. But I just know that when I came down to pick up this, so I could review it, to look at it, and it's very hard because some of these bills are before even I was sitting on this board. How do I know they did this work? How do I know? I take their word for it, but I have to take their word for it even though they're charging me to drop off their bill to Karen. So how can I take their word for it
Well,
anymore?
Michelle, like Charlie said, some of those invoices were back 3 years.
But I would take
3 years.
I would take their word for it if they weren't billing me for dropping off documents
I
to
know
Karen,
what
which
you're
is their own
saying,
bill.
I know what you're saying.
Now, what
That's-
documents would you leave with a volunteer?
Can we accept their integrity? Hell no.
No. Nope.
Now, when I came down to get this, so I could review it to see if I could see any of it, I had to pass by. I had to drive down by the Sunoco to get here. And there was at least 50 families in this community waiting at a food pantry. They're not stealing from rich people. They're stealing from people that wait in line for food. If that, and the word stealing is probably not appropriate. But this, Miss Bill, I take it very seriously to give this kind of money out of the pockets of people that are waiting for food.
One big game was going on down here. And I don't have the proof. And I'm reluctant to say what I know a lot of people are thinking, because I've had residents of this township comment to me about it. And I just heard it again today. So that's why I think that we as a board appointed to try to straighten some of these things out. I'm gonna call again and say again and repeat again, we need a forensic audit done in this township.
Now, as far as Stephanie and Christie's work, I mean, if they go through, they were checking for double billings. That's what they were checking for. They don't know what documentation. They just went through and checked all of this to make sure we weren't double billed for any item. But they have to read it and it says, oh, drop documentation off. They have to assume that's what it
Yeah,
is.
but you know one thing, if those bills are back to 2020 now, did Harshman send them a bill and say you owe us this money to pay it?
Well, they did, and you know what happened? There was a check in there with the signature from our former treasurer, Richard Lawson, that says, do not pay these, they're duplicates. So then what do? We have a treasurer that signed them, there's still a note on the check back
Well, then why
there.
should we
Do
pay
not
them then?
pay them their due.
Well, then why should we pay it?
Can I ask a question? Quick. What good would it be matching my invoices that I paid for and all my crap against that of Harshman's? It goes back to 16.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, it's just, you know, this was what I was gonna do. This is what I was gonna do, is try to get ready to pay these bills on a bill pay. But then, the fireman didn't have insurance. So, I didn't care about him, I moved over to here, so I haven't got through them all. I got through like 10 pages, and I started to highlight things that I knew they couldn't be.
Why don't you wait to pay them, let them send, what do you call them, somebody, collection agent. Wait till they send, that's 3 years, right? Let them send a collection agency after you die.
Now, I don't know why our former treasurer, Mr. Lawson, has a note on it not to pay. I mean, does he know that it's a duplicate? He said, he put on it, these are duplicates. I don't know. There's nothing but, yeah.
Michelle, let's look at the larger picture. Let's look at the health insurance. Let's look at the workman, not only the workman's compensation for the fire department in particular, but our liability insurance. 1, 2, 3, there's a whole pattern here.
And
We have employees working out here for the township, not on health insurance. They didn't notify the proper carriers of these personnel being present in the township. Our liability has been cut by 2/3 coverage.
And was notified of non-renewal.
Right, and paying triple the premium. What the hell went on in this township? These people sat up here, I can understand people making mistakes. We all do.
We
And
botched.
If they're made honestly, in the course of work, that's acceptable.
And I'm
But
not,
there's a whole plethora of things that went on in this township. And I'm going to make a motion that our auditor that we hired be elevated to do a forensic audit for this township, and that's my motion.
There's a motion on the floor, you have to
Now let's go, supervisors, what's your position?
any seconds?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so now, what we have to do, since this is on, we have to add this to the agenda.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
Motion to add another thing to the agenda? I demand that there's a forensic agenda maker brought in here.
Motion to add to the agenda.
Authorize the township officer, CPA.
Do you have an
Why don't we just wait till that?
No, in the second file. No, the second file. Careful. Each one of
This
this.
is what we're having to make. You can only add to the agenda if it's amendments in nature, we're hiring someone, which makes it non-controlling.
Believe me, it is not very gonna be de minimis.
Good night, folks. All right, so we're withdrawing your motions, right?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, so basically, okay,
Put it on the next.
all right, okay, so now we're back to making a motion to approve bill pay in the amount of how much? You're taking off this partial bills, correct?
It's all right, someone else might wanna make a motion to do it, I'm just saying, if it comes down to no one making a motion, I'm
So
gonna be
if
one
we,
that doesn't.
so
vote.
partial bills come to, you got your calculator there, DJ?
Yes, sir.
Now, there might be someone that wants to make a motion to pay all of them as is, but
Oh, no, I wouldn't do
Here's my
that.
problem. I don't want to pay the bills, but now that we have brought them up and we have put them here and that they have been reviewed, what we're doing is stepping our feet into a problem. If Harshman decides all of a sudden he wants to come in here, the burden of proof is on us that we are not paying it now. It's our burden of proof to prove that we don't owe and we don't have the information necessary to prove that we don't owe it. We have the burden of proof, not Harshman. He doesn't have to show that he didn't, that he.
We had them
you know,
reviewed
had
for
this.
duplicates, that's what we had them reviewed for,
Yeah.
duplicates. That's all
And
we
that's the
reviewed,
problem.
duplicates.
So do you wanna make a motion to pay the bill paid in the amount of $101,000?
No,
$761,999.
I would like to see the bills for Harshman set aside for further review.
Perfect.
So then it goes back to a motion to pay,
So it's the thing, TJ add up, TJ add 25,659.53 plus 355.00.
I don't even know if some of the,
I'm not done yet. And I got that. 712.50
Okay, anything else?
plus 21, is that? No, that's it, 712.
I'm not even sure that if any of these bills deal with the H2O grant, they're not completing.
Alright, so you got those two together?
Just those three items?
Just those three, what do you come to?
$57,727.03.
57,727.5 cents.
5727.03.
Alright, now take that figure and subtract that from, 1 second, subtract that from 101, comma,
101,
761.94.
761. And can you read off the Harshman total again?
57,
57.
727.03.
Okay, the total is $44,034.91.
44, comma, 0.
34.91.
I would also like to make comment to the board that we just recently received a Harshman bill for preparing for tonight's meeting. We got one for February's meeting. Now, we all know he hasn't worked here this year in the year of 2023, but he did bill us to prepare for the meeting. And do a report. Did anyone get one? Did any of you guys get a report? Because he billed us for one.
How much was it?
I don't remember, it's in the other office though. We gotta, and there's nothing else on it, there's just one piece of paper that he was billing for the report, preparing the report for the meeting, but there's nothing on the report, cause there's nothing to back it up, it must have, so, just to let you know, there might be mistakes in his bill, because he's still billing us.
So his bill was more than half of what your bill pay was.
It always was, wasn't it? It always was.
Okay, TJ, Dennis, the total amount,
So it's
bill
4.
paid at $44,034.91.
Correct, so you're making that motion?
You're right, Larry.
So moved.
Larry
That's,
Spahr?
that's minus Harshman's bills,
Correct.
Yeah.
Larry
And-
further
Spahr?
study.
And minus that one duplicate that they mailed from 2 different.
Yeah, the duplicates for
She,
email.
no, you guys never even saw it, she didn't give it to you to sign, it got on there, she noticed it before she ever,
Alright,
so we're just gonna avoid that check.
so motion to pay, motion by Larry Spahr, second by Steve Parrish.
Alright.
44,000,
Yeah,
034.91. Is that, so his motion is second, I'll ask.
subject to being true and correct.
I don't cover that film over for you.
The truth left
There you go.
without the truth.
Okay, roll call?
I'm not gonna-
Dupree,
Yes,
Spahr,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Adamsborn, yes, motion carried.
okay,
Now I want the